I was shocked too when I heard from my friends from different countries when they say they basically knew nothing about what China's role in World War II before they came to China. So, like for Europeans, the World War II probably started in 1939, and for Americans, United States, the war started in 1941 when Pearl Harbor was under attack. But that war started in China, in Asia, in 1931, September the 18th, because Japan on that day invaded Northeast China. So the war started in China 80 years before the date that the Westerners know about World War II. During the 14 years of resistance against Japanese aggression, China had 35 million military and civilian casualties. That's just the rough number we know. But imagine because Japan also launched biological warfares. They contaminated all the waters, rivers, food with cholera, with plague, with all kinds of diseases. So there was more like many more victims of this. And you mentioned the Nanjing massacre. The Japanese fascist forces wiped out 300,000 people in Nanjing City within a week. That's just one city, but such massacres conducted by Japanese forces were all across China. In Shanxi, there was mass graves of all the mine workers. In Northeast China, there are probably over 60 mass graves like that. So they committed this atrocious crimes in China. And I mean, everybody like I really recommend everybody to read the book, The Rape of Nanjing. It goes through the detail of what kind of atrocity they committed during these massacres. They raped all the women, kids, old women like grandmas. They conducted like beheading contests. Two Japanese soldiers compete who can behead 100 people in the shortest time, and they lost count. So like, how about we continue to do this until who reaches 200? So the whole river in Nanjing City basically turned into red color because of just too many bodies. And the bodies even blocked many roads just because, and the Japanese forces had to use those bodies to use as bridge. I mean, I just unspeakable crimes, and that's what they did. That's the Japanese fascist forces. But like most Westerners have no idea about what happened. They only know Holocaust. We know Holocaust. We are Asians. We live in China. We live in Asia. I learned the World War II European history in my high school textbooks. We all know 6 million Jews died in Holocaust, and we all know what Hitler did. How the Dunkirk, the Blitz. We know everything happened. A Pearl Harbor attack. We all know what happened in this theater of the World War II, but they don't know what happened here. And sometimes you hear Westerners say, "So what do we don't know? Do you know all the wars everywhere in the world?" But World War II is the most damaging war, and also Britain, United States, China. We were allies. We were allies fighting together against the fascism. So that's why it's all connected. That's how we built the post-World War II world order. That's why China is one of the five permanent members at the United Nations. So this history cannot be like forgotten. And also why we need to remind people the history even after 80 years. Because we are seeing some forces are trying to erase that history. They are waiting for all the survivors to die and so nobody can remember. They are already rewriting the history. Some will say the current generations in Japan have nothing to do with the war, so why are we blaming them? But then, if the current generation have nothing to do with that, why there are still people, everyone trying to uncover this history will see death threats, all kinds of attacks from some Japanese people. For example, there's recent years, there's a friend from the United States, Evan Kale, who donated a war crime photo album that he found in his antique store. He donated this photo album to Chinese embassy. Ever since he posted videos of the evidence he found on internet, he constantly received attacks, death threats online or physically. So apparently there's some people trying to cover the evidence of the crime. And also the Chinese American writer Iris Chan, who wrote the book The Rape of Nanjing. Ever since she wrote that book, she received all kind of attacks from people from all over the world, death threats. That probably one of the reasons that led to her suicide. So if the current generation really have nothing to do with the war, why are they so afraid of that history being mentioned? Why are they attacking anyone who trying to show the evidence, trying to uncover the war? So apparently they are waiting for all the survivors to die. And also, and we also know Japanese fascist forces, when what they did to the women in Asia, they
Yeah.
recruited sex slaves all across Asia. Most of them are in China, but also in Korea, even in Japan, the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia to be their sex slaves. They didn't apologize to these women. They didn't pay any compensations to these women. They are waiting for all of them to die and just erase that from their history book. They already erased that history from their textbooks. So the young generations in Japan have no idea what happened. And I would say, unlike Germany, Japan never apologized to the other victims. They never apologized to China, Korea, all the countries in Southeast Asia that they invaded. And actually, in their declaration, oh, they don't even say surrender. They are just saying cease of the war. They are saying for the peace of Asia, we cease the war. They were defeated. They
Mm.
surrendered. But they changed the wording is a game to say, well, for the peace of Asia, we ceased the war, and they used the bombs that dropped on Japan to play the victim game. They're saying we are the biggest victim of World War
Yeah.
II. So that's why we need to keep repeating the history to remind people what happened and never let this history be twisted and forgotten.